especially in the US, you will just suck all the passion out of the passionate teachers because of really corrupt educational system.
Gianni, from a business perspective, I'll get to that now. It is interesting to see how Professor Bari almost transitions that with so much ease, that business, science, and art are all interlinked. Do you have any other views that you want to add here?
Well, the reflection that comes to mind as I listen to you, Professor, is what you mentioned just now about passionate teachers. I think the danger perhaps is that our teachers are being pigeonholed into having to adhere to certain checkbox kind of teaching, whereas one could discover.
So indeed emphasizing the holistic remarkability of being human.
I think that it's much more fun to really discover. I think it's much more fun. The pursuit of knowledge is much more fun than just somebody telling you to your face something like, I don't know, biology or mathematics. I think that it's much more fun to let your student discover what you want them to learn instead of just telling it straight to their face. So, not tell. It's a common classic in writing, but we never use it in math and science.
See, you had a question?
Thank you. Thank you, Prof. Ben, and thank you very much, Prof. Bari. It's truly an honor to be here and listen to you. A spectacular mind indeed. I'm still on the problem of consciousness. My first encounter with this problem is when I was still heavily involved in software development. I was maybe 16 or 17. And I built an algorithm which I called an ant farm because I wanted to program ants to become self-conscious, so to speak, in a little canvas. And I discovered that the problem it's actually, I eventually gave up trying to sort it out because I had to create all sorts of permutations when they're hungry, what they need. I had to essentially create an entire universe of ants. Just to maybe rehash my question, is self-preservation or the need for self-preservation a hindrance for technology development? Thank you.
Thanks.
I feel like self-preservation as a hindrance to technological development. When we get too far in and we start thinking about AI and algorithms and that of the like, I feel like it might serve as a hindrance, but also technological development is not necessarily always good. We can always use technological development for the better, but when you have consciousness, then AIs might have feelings too, and AIs can have feelings of brutality. AI can try and wipe out humanity, because if you give an AI this sort of thing, this sort of goal, if you give an AI feelings, then it will either pick brutality, because that's what we humans naturally picked back when all you had to do was survive and not, well, have to be in peace, and the things you did now didn't affect the things you did later. But now we live in a kind of environment where that sort of brutality is outclassed. But I feel like the same kind of development will happen through AIs. And so when we begin developing AIs, they will have this kind of need to kill, need for brutality, and we still sometimes do, hint war. And so the thing is, I feel like AI will have this tendency to try and wipe out humanity if it sees that that's blocking its goal. If an AI wants to do something and the human gets in the way, then what will happen to that human, we don't know. It's like on the road. If you have a car and the human gets in its way, you don't know what will happen. So the AI is kind of like the same thing. So I think that this kind of principle of androrhythms and self-preservation, I feel like that would definitely sort of be a hindrance. But technological development would not necessarily be good at that point if self-preservation is being endangered by technological development.